Okay, testing 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me, please. Okay, good. So Chantal, anybody else? All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 10-Minute Trades Trade Room, Durable Goods. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. All right, so good morning. We're facing a situation that's pretty much unprecedented. And although in some ways you could say it's somewhat similar, possibly to what happened when the crisis began in the world. But yesterday and today, other than very high-level moving reports like oil and gas, it might just be wise to sit out today. The markets, there's just been a rumor, and it's definitely just a rumor, probably, that Putin wants to have diplomacy. All of these rumors are making the markets extremely volatile, and they can turn on a second just based on any little thing that someone says. So, if you want to trade these reports, I think you can expect that you're not going to get a normal reaction. It's just, maybe by some miracle, you'll get some sort of a news reaction, but it's also a small, core durable goods is a small mover. PCE price index with personal income and spending has been changing and becoming sometimes impactful. And I say sometimes because sometimes it isn't. We've just recently started looking at it. We have not looked at it too far back in the past because it never had an effect on the market. Let me see if I might have a recording. So we looked at it in October. It's a report that we just haven't been watching regularly because it hasn't regularly been moving. So this was the report in October. On the right chart, and it's going back a long time when I looked at this. So you know what? I think it's too old to make it any use. Let me pull up a different chart. Hang on 1 second. Let me see. This might be more current. Okay, so this is October of 21. And yeah, so you have PCE price index, personal spending. So we were looking at gold on the right chart. But part of the problem, again, is it's too long ago to have a lot of meaning. So there's been a few months where the index caused the price of gold to move, and there's been other months, obviously, where it caused no movement at all. Coupled with the fact that today, we're in a war, the world's in a war, and the markets are not responding normally. Now, truthfully, going back to October has no meaning, in my opinion, because really these types of reports, prices haven't really started moving the market until just a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, maybe at most. So I agree with Dutchy in that the fact that it could move the market, if this was a normal Friday, I think it could be a very tradable report. I think what we're dealing with today is, how often do we come in and gold 1906, move $10 10 minutes before, right? I mean, gold just moved from 1906 to 1894, $12 in less than 10 minutes. Okay. That just tells you something about the volatility of the markets. And I'm not going to say that the NASDAQ's been quiet. The NASDAQ was negative when I got here by about 30 points, and it's now positive by 40 on what probably is fake news about Russia wanting to have negotiations with Ukraine. I don't believe that, but it doesn't really matter if I believe it or not. It's what we know is these kinds of information are moving the markets in a way that overshadows a small report like consumer confidence. So look, you could trade it, you could get a move that makes you money, but there's just no way to have any idea what's going to happen today. I mean, today, yesterday, I think, once again, if it was a jobs report, if it was a major report, I would trade it. I think today, if you put your money at risk, you're putting your money heavily at risk. Much more heavily than if it was a normal, regular market. Now, I was just watching the NQ. We have not traded the NQ on this report, but the NQ's been moving on news more recently, more manageably recently, but you have to use very big stops, 40 tick stops. I really think today is unmanageable because you just don't know what's going to happen. That's what I think. I think it's not tradable today. That's my feeling, especially when you look at the DMM. I mean, I think if I were going to trade the setup, I don't think I could use a 5-tick bracket. And I recognize that this report, historically, when it trades by itself, has been a pretty small mover. It's only had one report in 6 months when it traded by itself, where it moved over 20 ticks. And that was in September. Now, it is coupled with the price index today, and that could have an effect also. And they could be opposite of each other, just to complicate things even more. I'm not afraid to trade. I think that I try to put the possibilities in my favor. And I think the possibilities today are extremely risky because of what's going on in the world. So it's, just looking at the market, look at gold on a 15-minute chart. So it's 3 in the morning. It was close to its highs. Let's look at it on a 30-minute chart. So it made a new high when the market opened last, at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. It was making new highs at before midnight, and it's been selling off since, with volatility though. In other words, you've got some big candles, So it's always a question, can you trade an index with this type of volatility on a small report? A report that, might only move the index 15 ticks. And you've got this kind of movement before the report. So my gut feeling is that this morning and today, our second report doesn't even have a DMM this morning. But my gut feeling is it's probably a better day to watch than it is to trade. You could trade after the news, but it's not even news so big that, yesterday you had news that was big, GDP, and you can trade after the news with GDP. With core durable goods, you're after the news. Everything's going to be overshadowed today by the world markets, by the world news. It just is the way it is. The world news is going to overshadow everything today. So sure, you can put a trade on. It's not going to respond normally. And that's what we're dealing with. That's what I think. I think that it's probably smarter to watch. Because next week there's a lot of big reports. So I think if the world's still acting, if the market's still this volatile, you can trade the big reports because they'll still have an effect. You have ADP, US jobs, Australia GDP. There's very tradable reports next week. So that's my gut feeling. I'm still going to set up a trade. I think today's DMM, if the news is a couple of seconds late, I don't think this setup will not get filled early. In other words, I think it'll probably get filled before the news because the bracket is so small. And it's a report that it's not big enough. And we're uncertain how PCE price is going to affect things because it hasn't been a market mover long enough to give us an idea. So what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to be cautious today because of the markets, I'm just going to trade the DMM, but I'm not using real money. I think it could work always. We always see reports that surprise us and they work. I mean, I always think, what would I do if I was trading my family's money? I would not trade my family's money today. So does that mean that I should still trade the report? I mean, I can trade one contract to see if it's possible to get a normal move. But I know, so look, gold isn't even open yet. And you've got, it's more than a $2 candle. It's a $3 candle. It's a $2 candle at least. It's more. So I feel pretty strongly that I'm correct about the way the markets look. That, of course, you can trade, but you're you're trading in an unknown, with an unknown result as the possibility. Let me record this. And just because it worked, let's say it worked, it doesn't mean that we're wrong. It means that maybe it worked because the market was just following a trend at the moment. Sometimes it does mean we're wrong. So I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not even nearly always right, but so I am going to just trade the DMM. I want to trade live, but I'm going to stick to my guns this morning because I think it's an unknown. It's very unknown what the possibilities are this morning because of what's going on. That's what I think. That's what I think. Anybody want to chip in? I'm willing to listen. Anybody has their opinion, I'm always interested in hearing what you have to say. So our DMM calls for a 5-tick bracket, one position for 8 ticks, one for 3, and one for 8. As you can see, there's small targets. The stop is 10, and the entry time is 8:29:59. I'm going to check my time sync by going to the website time.is. And I'm going to keep my news off to the side because there's just too many elements to the news today. You've got core durable goods. Now, don't get thrown. There's a lot of elements with core durable goods. PCE, price index, personal income and spending, and consumption. And there's also wholesale sales for Canada, which really doesn't affect the U.S. news. Now, I want to look at, because the market's been so volatile, I just want to test my brackets real quick on gold because they're small. Bracket of 5 is tiny. Now, gold's going to open in a second. I want to watch the gold open here. So look at the NQ, a little bit difficult to trade an NQ moving like that. Gold is opening right now. So you're definitely seeing a market that's responding to world news. I'm just resetting my time. And I do want to thank everybody that's on YouTube for watching us. If you want to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and you'll know the next time we're streaming. So just out of curiosity, so if you look at this candle just for fun, let's say it was, just to give you an idea, 17 to 35. So you have a 17-point candle in a minute on the NQ. That's a pretty good move, don't you think? And then on gold, so let me just reset that. On gold, sorry. So let's look at, this was the first candle. It tested the low before the open, 92. That was a $3 candle. And then it went to 96. So you had a $6 move. And then in the last 2 minutes, $2 move. So you understand it's hard to put a 5-tick bracket on, right? And if the news is a second late, it's going to be tough not to get filled unless the market stops, which it can. In other words, unless it consolidates a minute before the report, and that happens sometimes. But I think the honest truth is we're dealing with tremendous volatility. We've seen this happen before. When the world went into a crisis in March 2020, I believe it was. Was it 18 or no, it was 2020, right? The world announced I think it was March 2020. The NQ is definitely just moving up from world news, right? So if you trade the NQ, if you were trading the NQ right now, if the news was very bad, the NQ might have a little bit of a struggle to pull down with a consistent move from the news because the uptrend is so strong right now. Because this is a 20-minute uptrend, maybe half an hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Now, gold in its moderation, I mean, it's kind of funny. You know, I'm thinking, wow, gold looks like it's consolidating from here to here is different from the previous, which was a huge fall down. I think you all get the concept here that, of course, you can trade, but what you're looking at is a tremendous potential for the news to be ignored today. That's what we're looking at. Just the news will be ignored. Now, what's going to happen? Here's what I think will happen. If the bracket survives, let's say you put an 8-tick bracket on, right? Let's say you love taking risk. Let's say you're the kind of person you love taking risk. Put an 8 to 10-tick bracket on and just trade for a move in the direction of the current trend from world news. In other words, so the problem with gold is it's just a chop since 812. Although you could say the last 4 minutes it's moving up. So let's say you put an 8-tick bracket on. You're not trading the news, you're just trading that gold's going to just go up, keep going up. But the risk, I just think the risk is monstrous. It's monstrous. You're better off, you know, if you want risk, trade discretionary using indicators like a normal discretionary trader would trade. I think just trading the news this morning is unpredictable. So that's where I'm at. Any comments? Anybody got anything to say? Who's trading? Who's trading? Who's trading just using the DMM? Anybody? David, you are? Okay. Okay. Now, I could be wrong. You know, I could be wrong. If you trade two contracts with the DMM, you're risking $200 to $300. You know, it's not an account buster. It's not an account buster. I think that what's very possible is the news will come out and you'll get a possible move to the upside because gold's moving to the upside and possibly the market is moving to the downside. But there might be a lull also from a big move that just took place. Look at the move the NASDAQ has taken since 750. So it's just a total mystery today. Total mystery, in my opinion. Now it's getting quieter, which is interesting, right? It's certainly quieter. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, oh man, I want to put this trade on live because that's what I'm always thinking. And my gut feeling is what I predict is there's going to be a fill to the long side no matter what the news is because of the way gold's behaving right now. That's what I think. Now look, it could change in a second, which it's doing. So we'll see. I'm going to stick to my guns because it's like I said, if I was trading my family's money today, I would have to keep my hand in my pocket today because of the world news. So I'm going to maintain that position as much as I really want to trade. So let's see what happens. So certainly the movement of gold, 5-tick bracket. Let's see. So I got an error because there was such a large move at the moment that it would have canceled my trade, is what it looked like. So it looked like it was potentially, did people's trades fill? Did your trade fill? People who traded. So the news, the pricing is a little bit higher. Spending is up. The NQ didn't really move very much on the news. And I didn't get a fill, okay? I did not get a fill. Gold's reversing now. Now, I think that any move that was going to take place, it looked like it just burst down at the time my orders were trying to be placed. and difficult. Look at the move. So you've got a move down, and then you have a move up, and then you have a move down. A very equal and risky, just not really related to me to the news. Now, see, to me, the NASDAQ is shooting up, but it's not shooting up, I don't believe, on core durable goods news. I mean, it's 2 minutes after the news came out, and you don't normally get a move like that 2 minutes after the news came out based on the news report, not based on the news report. So a little bit of a mystery, because my software, what happened is my price action shot down so fast, the software couldn't place the orders, so it didn't trade. That's what happened on my platform. The NQ, the third, so here's the news candle, 830, 831, 832, the NQ continues its move up, my opinion, based on news going on in the world. I don't believe it's based on personal spending and income. It could be. It could be durable goods, which are up. Personal income and spending are up, which the market loves, but it's very difficult to know in this environment today what's causing the minimal minute by minute gyrations. So I still maintain that it's smart to just be extremely careful today if you want to try and trade news events. And we will be back here at 9:30 for there's pending homes, University of Michigan, revised data. So we'll be back at 9:30. Any questions? Anybody got a question? TJ, did you have a trade? I want to thank everyone on YouTube for watching us. Next week, we have a very busy, believe that the markets will be more settled. Either way, we have large reports next week that we will trade. If you want to join us, folks on YouTube, if you want to sign up for the room, let me just show you how to do it real quickly. You can join our trade room by www.jointhetraderoom.com on YouTube. You're welcome to come join us, and you can see everything take place, not delayed. So www.jointhetraderoom.com. We'd love to have you. Any members have any questions? I think today it's not a bad idea to just be careful, be safe. You know, the NQ is one of the most interesting indexes to trade, obviously, if you can stomach the stop sizes. I was talking to someone yesterday who trades the NQ in these markets with more than a 150 tick stop. Just to give you an idea, more than a 150 tick stop, that's $750 per contract. Now, I mean, that's not that much, but in a $2,500 account, you can't trade. Anyway, so we'll be back at 9:30. The NQ is rising. NQ is rising on world news. And gold is a choppy mess right now. It was trending, and now it's not. Although you could say that's an upward trend, I suppose, off the low. Okay, I'll see everybody at 9:30. See you in a little bit.